Helps if I hit the start broadcast. How are we, guys? Good. You can hear me. Let's just start. So, got sent this one. It's the pound, which has had a bit of a rally in the last 2 days. We've got obviously clear divergence, which is shown here in this setup. There's trend line support. It's a bit of a shallow trend line, but that's reasonably valid. There are questions as to whether this is a phase 2 trade or a trend continuation. This particular checklist looks like it's a trend reversal, and you've got fib extension. I notice that you've used this Fibonacci from here. To me, that's a bit of a random spot to start. If this is trend line, then you should be starting from the last time of your trend line. You're drawing this one, or as you can see, what I've put on there is that's this move here for our, we've got the 1.618. The other one you might be drawing is if you are saying, okay, well, this is the move here, and this is a trend continuation. Yep. I've got a target in there which is just literally 3 times my risk, but we'll be monitoring it closely because I kind of like the idea that you've got as well, which is a potential head and shoulders. Obviously, this is far from being formed yet, but that's from a fundamental point of view that could marry up with price action. So it'll be monitoring that as the trade goes through. This is your target. I presume that's at least 1 to 2. It looks about 1 to 2, so that's okay. And you're targeting this previous high, which is all right. 69. There's a bit of resistance at 7.70 and $1.70. We'll see how that eventuates. That's good stuff. Dollar Sing, potential ring low reversal ring RL. You got RL there. Singapore dollar daily higher highs, bullish price action, horizontal support above the moving averages. No. Continuation long. EMA support, hidden divergence. Oh, I don't know about that. Fib retracement. It's shallow to the 382. 8 out of 10. Size 65-ish. Not sure where the Chinese news today. I would have, we were looking at this a couple of days ago as a trend continuation short. There's a bit of a resistance line here. It didn't make this high, but you could say these lows over here is forming a resistance line. Obviously didn't get anywhere near that either. I don't see this as a cycle above the EMA just yet. With momentum at this high, it's how much further has it got to go. So I was be more inclined to, with US dollars looking to get weaker against most of its majors, I'd be more inclined to say this is the direction it's going to go. It's south. Obviously, with an inside buyer bar yesterday, there's no real indication. We need to see another seller bar before we're looking at it. If you had your order in underneath this, then you'd be probably cancelling it and waiting to see more selling intention. But it's not yet. There's no signal for buying yet at this point. I don't see any ring low or buying intention in this area. It could suggest that there's a bit of support here But again, it's been broken, and you now expect this to make a trade back shorter again. You haven't placed the order yet. Okay, that's good. So I'll just, and that's for your targets, yeah. I just don't see this as any sort of indication of buying power or to go long yet. Okay, Euro phase 2. Yeah, we were looking at it a couple of days ago above this bar here. Obviously, more selling came in. It's retested this previous low here, and it's FUD asking about at the moment. In terms of, is that a reasonable support line? Well, not really. You can't exactly suggest that the market's respected that horizontal level all that much. So that's the dilemma. Is do I have a strong horizontal for this? Yes, there's divergence, but is there any strength in this yet? I prefer to be short this for obvious reasons. All the fundamental reasons are to be there, but you can't sell this when the momentum's here. Well, you'd only be looking for 50 or 60 pips if you were, maybe 100 at the top side. But you prefer to be selling it up here when momentum's on the higher side, and that's obviously hasn't eventuated yet. And can you trade the phase 2? Well, as I said, I don't think that horizontal is strong enough to warrant the risk. I'd prefer to wait for it to be established in a trend and then take it on the shorter time frame. We were looking at it 2 days ago. On Monday I said have a look at the 4 hour, and we obviously didn't get any buy signal on the 4 hour. Even on the hourly we didn't get any buy signal. Some people might have got faked into that, but there was nothing for me to look at, and there still isn't it yet. Okay, CAD Swiss you want to look at. Yeah, I'm looking at this in the EuroCAD. Certainly, there's been strong buying in the last 2 days, and it's still hanging on to this previous. That's the previous. I would suggest significant cycle. Came back above the 1.618 and above the 50. Sorry, the 61 and the 50. There's a you could look at this as the horizontal level being this low and that high there. Yeah. And there is a potential trade in this today. Do you have trendline support as well? That was the low of that previous move. Yeah, that moved down. Yep. And so you don't have trendline support, but you've got fib and horizontal, and you've even got the 50 EMA as a potential support. Momentum is on the downside and moving up, so it's all reasonable for us to look at that. CAD Sing. This is a bit trickier. It's quite messy. This would be more of a phase 2 trade, I would suggest. You're getting the divergence. You've broken the significant low here. If this was the cycle up, it's broken that significant low. Yeah. So there's 1 cycle, 2 cycle, 3 cycle, and it broke this. So I would now be potentially looking at shorting opportunities. Not that I want to short the CAD, but that's what the technicals are showing us. Yeah, euro dollar best to wait for a shorting opportunity. It's a brave man who wants to go long on this at the moment. Exactly, I agree. So that's the CAD Sing. The CAD Yen took this on the break. took it again on the retest, or the bounce of the retest. That didn't failed to eventuate, and we're now back underneath that support level, which is, as you can see, reasonably strong. You could almost say this is back into a range again now. And it's a bit choppy. The moving averages are going sideways again. This would be not something, you know, it's hard to tell if it's actually in a trend when you've got all this crap here. You know, here we're getting cycle of higher highs, and that's why we're looking at that, or did take that. Now can you say that? Well, it is a higher low than this. You might be looking at this on a weekly or a monthly. It's pretty messy though, isn't it? It's not, to me, it's just not clear cut. So I'd be staying away from that until we do see some clear indications of what's going on. Okay. Okay, so Kiwi, yeah, good trend line, and it's just hanging on to that. I think I've got that one as well. It's that weekly, yeah. And it's just obviously just fallen underneath that. We've got this 84 nice round number, which it's coming to, and yeah, we're certainly on the bottom side of momentum. So how much further can it go? The clearest thing is there's no trade today. To me, there's just not enough. This is closed in the middle of the bar, so there's not enough indication that the other buyers out there are wanting to do the same thing. They're still looking at selling this. So, you know, if you're short this, then you'd be hanging on to your position. But if you're looking to go long, there's just no indication that the market wants to do that as well. So you're fighting the market to try and get this to lift, and that's just not happening at this stage. So we need to see that before we take the trade. But I do like your analysis. You don't have the bullish price action, so no trade. That's great. Fib extension, I like where you put your fib, and you've got the 1.272. You could also draw, if this is the cycle, if it's cycling along this trend line, you could also potentially draw a Fibonacci on that and see if there's also fib support for a new kind of weekly phase one, and you've got that 50 hanging around there, roughly around where your 1.272 is. So almost looking at this as there's your weekly cyclicity, and taking it in that sense. Yeah. But biggest thing we need, and it's not there as you noted, is bullish price action. And if it's going back to the 50 fib, you obviously need to get your risk reward correct, because I don't know if that's going to be there. Almost look at this area here, these tops here, as your target, 87. Wait for price action. Cool. This one's the cable. Sorry, let's get rid of that one. Next one's cable. This one. There's divergence. There's also hidden divergence. This particular trader says, I'm not sure if it's a phase one or a phase two. It fits both checklists well, but whether to take it as a phase one. I did reply to this trader directly and said, well, the way to do it is, or the way I'm looking at it, is treat it as a phase one of the longer trend for over 12 months. This has been a pretty strong trend. and I'll be looking at as with that in mind. But as I said to him, have a be keeping a clear, open mind as to what happens if it does get up to this area, up to the 50 EMA or even $1.70, and see if any selling comes in there. Then perhaps we then have a cycle underneath it. The reason why I prefer to be going long this is that it hasn't broken this significant low, and we've got that clear divergence. You've also got, if you're looking at it from this low to this low, we have bullish hidden divergence, and we've got bullish reversal divergence across these lows as well. So the momentum's certainly there. We have the BOE out tonight with their inflation report, and before that we've got the Dole numbers. So that will either not trigger us into the trade, and therefore we won't be in the trade because there'll be more selling pressure to come into it, or it could trigger us into the trade, and then we're in on the bullish sentiment from those the inflation report. Yeah, so you either, I've put mine a little bit higher just in case it that inflation report is bearish and the volatility around the number triggers us in. We go to the hourly. I think that's enough distance away. But if obviously if the inflation report is bullish and Carney does, they're talking about raising rates in November. If he does indicate that that's the case, then this pound will motor pretty quickly. So, yeah. Started as a phase one, but keep an eye on what it does when it gets to this previous $1.70, which is resistance, and around the 50 EMA. If you see selling intention come in, then you might look to take profit or just get out of the trade. Or take partial profit. Yeah. But with your analysis, you've got this here. You do mention that it fits your checklist. I haven't seen your checklist. I've just noticed that you've got a Fibonacci on it, and you've also got this divergence. Kind of need a little bit more. You've got this support line. Need a little bit more information there. But yeah. Okay. Euro pound, Euro Sing. Euro Sing first. Looking to go short on the 13th, which is today. Lower highs and lower lows. Yeah. Trend line resistance. Yes, that's good. Fib retracement to the 382. Yes. Seller low test bar showing weaker seller sentiment. That's true. RSI convergence. Yes. Horizontal resistance. Have to check that out. I don't see any other sort of resistance there. Below the moving averages, yes. Okay. That's all good. The only thing I'd like to check is the horizontal resistance. This, is a bit of the concern I have with selling the euro is that you've got the euro looking like it's forming a bottom, and we've got the momentum ticking up, so it could be either choppy or rallying. So therefore it'll need to be the Sing needs to be rallying, and we're looking at buying the Sing against the US. Yeah, but it needs to rally harder and faster than the euro's doing. So what's the my data doesn't go back that far. You need to make sure that that resistance line is strong, and that's why the price is reacting to it. Personally, I think the resistance might be further up here. You can see that it stopped on that. We haven't got there, and if we look at our Fibonacci, and it's right where the 50 EMA is, and the Fibonacci is 50 Fib. So you've got 50 Fib, 50 EMA, and that previous horizontal. I kind of suspect that's probably where it's going to go. So you've got a seller inside seller bar, and you've got a lower high, lower low, but it's a buyer bar, maybe even bullish if you calculate it. And And yeah, there's not enough reasons for me to take that short. Just a sec. Yeah, so with this one, wouldn't be jumping into this just yet. I'd be waiting to see some selling intention up here. Yeah, that trend line is probably the strongest thing you've got going for it, and I don't think trend lines are that strong. Your other one is Euro Pound. That trend line, really? Okay. Yes. Lower highs, lower lows, yes. Below the moving EMA resistance, horizontal resistance is soft, RSI convergence, bearish price action, fib retracement, trendline resistance, hidden divergence. Okay. Hidden divergence. That's not really a cycle with the hidden divergence. With hidden ones, not the reversal divergence. With hidden divergence, we're looking at cycle to cycle. So if you've drawn your fib from here and saying, oh, that's your cycle and you're getting 382 resistance, then your hidden divergence should be from there. And obviously, you could argue that you do have hidden divergence in this case because RSI back there looked like it was at 50 and it got up to 80. So I'm not looking at hidden divergence across that cycle. This is just a phase 2. Yeah. But I would be, that's the only comment I've got of that. And the trend line, I suppose if you're getting into it underneath the low of this bar, then yes, you do have trend line resistance, but I wouldn't put a lot of weight on that. And you 79, 80. I mean, to me, it's that 80 is the resistance. Nice round numbers. Crosses love round numbers. 80 cents is a nice round number as resistance, and I'd suggest that that's probably a stronger resistance line. Okay, so the hidden divergence is more across there. Cool. Pound continuation. Pound continuation. You've got that there. Got a huge fib. Oh, look at this is a fib going up to here. Not sure what that's for. It's identified a bit of a support zone. Get your stop underneath that. That's good. And that's there. And I think this is yours. Yeah. Higher highs above EMAs. No support off 50 MA. Correct. Horizontal support. RSI divergence. Bullish price action. No levels of resistance in the way. Well, $1.70, but that's still. Oh, there you go. You're underneath that. And that should still be a decent risk reward. What's that? 21 to 42, so you're talking about 80 pips, and you've got about 180 pips target. So that's good risk reward. No chart pattern, and hidden divergence. That's bullish. I'd say bullish reversal divergence in my notes. I'd say that's RSI bullish divergence. Because you've got bullish reversal divergence across here. Yep. And you've got hidden divergence from the previous low. Yeah. Which is also bullish. Okay. So you've got both. I'll just write that in as bullish hidden divergence and bullish reversal divergence. Otherwise, yeah, that's good. And Yeah, I'm not sure what this fib is. If we take all that crap off and we look at maybe that's a type of Fibonacci in terms of larger long scale, or you might be looking at something like that and say, well, there's a bit of support there around 68. It's broken through, it's now finding support on it. You got a cluster here. I don't know if you guys can see that. There's a bit of a cluster there from a 1.618 extension and the 50 retracement of this large move. And that's at 73.50 area. What's the weekly looking like? Yeah. Okay. Just forgot to put bullish. Okay, cool. Otherwise, that's all good. Okay. That's not the one I want to look at. I want to look at the Euro Sing. I got sent a nice little picture of what to do with the Euro dollar. I was told not to show it. Okay. What do you think of the Euro Sing short? As I said, I don't think, I've sort of already covered this, I don't think yet, but certainly there is a potential that is there with the Europeans struggling, and they will continue to struggle. Weekly kind of looks like it's might give us a bit of another push down, but it's certainly at the lower end of the scale. You prefer to be selling it when it's at the higher end of the scale. And then your daily, you got that trend line, yes. As I said before, I think the trend line is not as strong as what you got the 50 fib. You got this horizontal being that previous low, and it was support there. Should come and test that, which is also the 50 fib of this blue retracement. Not sure what that one is. Monthly horizontal. Monthly horizontal off that low. I'll take your word for it. Lower highs below the moving averages. MA resistance to 20. Horizontal resistance. Yeah, I prefer the first one you've written there, and it hasn't gone up to it yet. I'm not sure where that one comes from. No major support in the way, good. Fib not ideal, but it's a repeat of previous run. Okay. Came back to the 382 and then it had another run, but you know, with this one it also had not only the 382, it had this, it came back and tested that support line, yeah. And that to me is a bigger thing. It came back and tested that level across here, yeah. I'd call that almost a retest, which it hasn't done here. Yeah, okay, this was the 382 of this move. I see you've highlighted that, but there's more reasons than just the 382. And you know, trend line is really the only other reason you got, or the 20 EMA, which again I don't think is strong enough. Does that make sense? And daily it ticks most of the rules with the exception of major support line. Having said that, if price breaks the support line, we could see a potential another 300 pips in the run. Okay. Another factor which is not so great is a fib. It's only the 382, but okay. That's all good. You're online. You what do you think? Okay. All right. Okay. Look, if you're wanting to take it, I'd only put a little bit of risk on it, because the reasons behind the trade are not as strong as if you're taking it up here. Yep. Okay. We can close that one. We can close that one. We're now looking at dollar Sing. Yeah, looking at this as a Potential phase 1 short. Let's come back to the 786. You've got hidden divergence, EMA resistance of the 200. Ring high with a seller bar. Yeah, there was. It's now an inside buyer bar, so I'd be waiting for another seller bar, as I mentioned at the opening of the program. RSI trendline resistance, horizontal resistance is a soft one. Yeah, these highs here. I agree, it's reasonably. It's not a strong one. Clear of major support obstructions. Good. I like how you said that. Change that. That's good. And this is your weekly look at it. That it's inside this wedge. Now from that, you'd say it's 50 EMA. It's kind of borderline as to which way it's going to go, isn't it? With that, you'd be more inclined to say, well, it's on its way up. Kind of tested this support line. I'm glad we didn't take the trade, and I'd prefer to be patient and seeing more selling yet before jumping into that. I'd be too nervous. Not sure what you're nervous about. Dollar, what's this? Kiwi yen. Yeah, I think the Kiwi's probably looking for a bit of a pullback up. This is certainly looking at a, is this a range trade? Range reversal, yeah. Range reversal, minimum score, strong horizontal support, yeah. We've got that. RSI divergence, we've got that. Bullish price action, fib extension, from this to the, okay, so you got from that low to that high, and you've got the 50 fib. Okay, what's with the extension of, I think I'll put it out for us, Kiwi yen, and extension, there's your extension, fib extensions. Or potentially you could go there. Either one I would say is a reasonable way to look at it. But you've drawn the bigger move, which is okay too. I presume you've done this one. Something like that. You got the 50 fib. And that's okay too. There's obviously quite a bit of support down here, and slight divergence from that low to that low. What we don't have is the price action to follow through on it. Trade management, long reversal, phase 2. Strong trend, hasn't it? It's broken underneath that trend. Yeah, that's your 50. You've drawn the same one. That's good. Maybe just to go to that high there, because it was the higher high. Certainly could be looking at this, the cyclicity off the 50 EMA. And obviously we're not quite there yet, because we're not seeing the buying price action just yet. I would see a double top with the Kiwi yen against resistance on the W chart, so would you expect this pair to go short? You mean on the weekly? There's a double top there? Oh, you could make that argument, absolutely. Yeah, there's your double top, and what you're suggesting is that if it breaks this, then this is obviously on the weekly. If it breaks that, then you're looking at, let's call that 400 pips at 800 pip down. if it breaks that. So down around here somewhere, around 77.50. 77.50. It's not quite those lows, but yeah, in there somewhere is your target area. That's certainly something to look at as well. But on the daily, you'd want to see this break and then come back and retest it. Or you could, potentially, if you wanted to trade this as the weekly, have traded on the break. You've got a 400 pip stop and an 800 pip target. I want that to be a pretty strong level. It looks pretty strong. Certainly, even on the monthly, the divergence is coming out of this yen. I think, days of selling the yen are pretty much over. All the yen crosses are just going nowhere. Okay. Next one is Dollar Sing. Okay, you've sent me this. This is your, obviously your calculator. 7. Wow, risking 32 to get 228. Your checklist gives you lower highs. Yeah. Very strong seller high test bar, followed by seller bearish divergence, followed by RSI convergence. Okay. Risk reward is taken 3 times, risking a total of 0.6 with the risk reward of 2.6, 3.7, 7.1. Lot size of 0.36 each. Trade management will include a take price for the first target and stop management for all 3 trades. Once the first target has been reached, evaluate will include determination for take price for the remaining 2 trades. I like that. What we need to see is obviously so this is your first take profit, and once this gets taken you'll manage the other 2 with, and obviously trailing your stops on both, but you'll manage your take profits on the next one. Yeah, this is I like the trade management. That's in. I like that. That's very. I find that interesting. Obviously, what we need to see, as we've previously discussed, is more selling, and because this is a buy bar, inside buy bar. I personally wouldn't necessarily leave my order sitting there. I'd have a wait to see another selling bar, and then take it. Okay, that's good. I like your trade management. Your trade management ideas. That's good. And I also like the fact that you're clearly mapping out your trade and how you're going to manage the trade before you even get into it, so you know exactly how that's going to work for you. Could you repeat the last trade management style on the Sing? What he suggested was that he's getting in at the same, he's splitting his order in 3. The first one is a take profit of 2.5, risk of 2.5. And when it got to that, he was going to evaluate the situation as to whether he will have take profits on his last 2 orders. Obviously, the advantage of splitting it in MetaTrader 4 is that you can manage and take profit or set take profit targets without having to sit there and monitor it and manually take profit by reducing your order volume. So the stop loss management was going to be the same on all 3. He will manage the trade and make sure that he's not, if the market reverses against him, he's getting out of all 3. So the stop management on the same as on all 3, but the take profit was different. He had a target on 1 of them, literally in the marketplace, and no targets on the other 2. But he's aware that he should monitor that once the first one gets taken out. if you please look at comment on Euro Aussie, or look at and comment on Euro Aussie. It looks good for phase one, sure, but I have the same reservations on the Euro Sing. Yeah, Euro Aussie. I think I've got it in here somewhere. Euro Aussie. Yep, there it is. I like this, and I want to get short this because I think the Aussie is still going nowhere, but the Euro is still weak. However, there is strong support in this area here. Not that area. Not that area either. What I'm looking at is there. You can see those two levels there. And I'd prefer to get the order in after it sort of breaks that area. Does that make sense? So the way I would treat this is, if this is a lower high, lower low today, I'd look at taking the trade, but with only half of my potential trade on it, and then adding to it in the lower time frame cyclicity once it gets through this support line. But yes, there's you could suggest that you've got the reasons for the trade has come back to the 50 fib to 618. Is there a strong resistance line? Well, it didn't quite test it, did it? There's not even a soft resistance line there, really. Perhaps this low here, and that again is not one. Maybe that. If you look at that, let's get rid of all the other stuff and have a look at that level and say, is that a reasonable horizontal level for us to trade off? Yeah, I'd say it's reasonable. Where's my mouse? It was certainly pretty strong around the July area, and I think that was a Fibonacci level of some description, if I remember correctly. But certainly, if there's if this is lower high, lower low, I'll be looking at this tomorrow. Okay, and then adding to it once it gets through this support. So it started off with a 0.5% and then add to it. Okay. Right, CAD Swiss, sorry, Euro Pound again, we're looking at this one, and go back to lower highs and lower lows. It's pretty much the same, but in reverse of the CAD Swiss. No, it's not. Recent high broke previous high, and thinking I should wait for another day of selling before looking to go in. That I agree with. This came into my inbox yesterday morning, and so we do have the selling now, and you can be looking at the trade now. But this, I don't agree that this is a higher high. I think we've got, the cycle is there. That's your phase one from this there to there is your phase one. Horizontal resistance, we're underneath that now. This resistance level here. Bearish price action we certainly have. From the last two spike there is divergence. Yeah, look, this is bearish reversal divergence, if anything. Yeah. Your CAD Swiss though, I don't see that as, well, when I say it's not the same as the Euro Pound, is that there's no correlation. Right, but what you're suggesting is that this has broken this low here. But if you look at this as being the cycle, this is the last touch of the 50, or even if you want to go back to that one and say that's your last touch of the 50, then it's still, the uptrend is still intact. I don't believe that this is a reasonable, I'd say this is your, there's one cycle, there's two cycles. You could say there's mini cycles in it along the 20, but as you guys know, I don't really like the 20 to trade from. The 50 is stronger, and it's held onto the 50 tried to run away south of it, came back and closed on it. And if you could look at it now, starting the trade potentially today, or if you're nervous about it, then wait for this bar to finish as a buy, another higher bar, and then you've got literally 3 days of buying, and you could be looking at taking the trade. Wanted to know if I should, before going in, if we do weight this, would a risk reward right out? Not really. I mean, what's your reward is at least the 1.272, or at least the 1.618, and so let's say it closes on the 50 EMA. You're looking at a 110 pip stop and 150 pip target. That's around 1.5, which is all right. If you go to the 618, then you're looking at 1 to 2. So, as I said, you could potentially start the trade today. There's certainly enough reasons for you to be looking at it and doing that. If you're uncertain, just put half your normal risk on it, and then add to it tomorrow. Recent low broke previous low. Well, again, that's depending on what you're looking at the cycle. I mean, this could be one big cycle in the weekly time frame. Well, the weekly looks like it's trying to do a phase 2 down, or phase 1 down. But there's your cycle. I don't believe this is a phase. I think this is all phase 1. And that's the way I'm looking at it anyway. Could be well wrong. That's the way I'm looking at it. And I don't see much resistance in this. Even if you're looking to take this short on the weekly, what was the resistance there? There wasn't much. Maybe that area there. I'm going back to 2011. I'm pretty certain we haven't been down here, this area, before 2011. Certainly keep an eye on it. If it gets up there and does a high test bar, you'd look to get out. But you would have made money by that time. Okay, dollar Sing. Another one, yeah, everybody's looking at this one. Yes. And as I mentioned, I prefer to be looking at cancelling it. I mean, you could leave it. Technically, you could leave it there, but I just want to see more selling intentions in this, and I need to see that, and then go in. But this came in yesterday morning, and so at that point in time, you're understandably placing the order. And last one is the pound Kiwi rising channel. Okay, so on your, don't know what that is. You link these two tops. Okay, you got 2 touches. That's great. You got, is that an exact channel? I don't know. Channel range short on high test, but this is only your second touch, which means that your low probability of this trade. I think that's a pretty random looking trend line to me. The horizontal at $2 is, to me, is a much stronger idea. $2 is huge resistance. I can see that. Nice, lovely round number of $2. And we're not up there yet. When this came in Monday afternoon, so that would have been there. What's today? Tuesday, or Monday. Yeah, you would have certainly been looking at that on Monday afternoon, and may have even been triggered in. Did you get triggered in? I know you're online here. Oh, you're in the trade. He stops above there. Yeah. The tricky one, that one would have been yeah. Well, still, hopefully you stops above that, and you things can turn around for you. If the Kiwi does run and run stronger than the pound, then you'll be looking okay. Let's hope things turn out for you. But at this stage, you're probably looking at it. This horizontal end at $2, which is a sound reason to be looking at that, to take it short. Some people may have said, well, this is a range trade. A reversal trade of a trend cycle, and then gone no thanks because of the risk reward ratio. That's just sometimes you get them to go in your favour. Other times, what should I keep my stop where it is? That'll depend on your account. If you're negative, you're probably looking to get the hell out already. If you're positive, you might, and you're feeling, you might be able to run the risk of going, okay, well, I put 0.5% on it. I'm willing to take that hit. If I move my stop now to where are you going to move your stop above this, which means you should be getting out. I'd be inclined to leave it there at this stage. Okay, guys. As I mentioned, there's a bit of news out tonight, especially around the pound. And then tomorrow's the German GDP, which everybody's looking at, especially after the economic sentiment was absolutely shot to pieces last night. They were looking at 18. The previous month was 27, and they got 8. So the Germans are not happy campers, and that comes out tomorrow night. So at 4 o'clock Sydney time. So that'll be interesting. Otherwise, it's a pretty quiet week economically, and I shall talk to you on Friday lunchtime anyway, or Friday morning at 10 o'clock. Okay. Any other sort of questions? No. Okay, guys. Thanks for listening, and I shall speak to you on Friday. If you've got anything else, just shoot me.